Hello, it's Marnie Penner from Happiness for Mothers. And right now I'm in my favorite place in Budapest. So I'm on the Gellert Hill. And there's the castle. I don't know if you see the castle behind me, yeah. And so anyway, thought I'd show you a bit of Budapest. I actually live in a village outside of Budapest. So I only come here about once a week, but every single time I come here, it just fills my heart with joy because this is kind of where I found myself in adulthood. I was 26 and this is where I overcame social anxiety and started making friends with the world again, right? And so I love coming to this place. Today, I wanted to talk about what causes postpartum depression and anxiety. There are many different frameworks out there. So there's the medical framework saying that it's a hormonal imbalance or chemical imbalance in our brain. There's the psychological framework, the mainstream psychological framework that's saying that there is something wrong in your past or with your parents or maybe your thoughts and beliefs, like in cognitive behavioral therapy. And then there's a third framework that we often don't talk about, and it's the sociological framework as well as other domains like European Gestalt psychology, that kind of thing. And what they believe is that depression and anxiety and other mental illness simply means that the individual cannot handle the environment in which they find themselves. And so what I noticed in early motherhood is I was so miserable in the first few years of motherhood. And then once I started feeling a little better, I noticed that all my friends were also miserable. Like everyone had been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and they were all being treated. They were all, and I said, this is a problem that has no name. And there is not a problem with every single mother I meet. There's a problem with our mothering culture. There's a problem in our society. There's a problem with the environment in which mothers are placed once they become a mother, right? And so then I started discovering, well, what is it? Or like trying to figure out what is it about this mothering environment that's making us all suffer from depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and all the other secondary symptoms, intrusive thoughts, addictions, right? And so then I plunged into my journey of researching sociology, anthropology, psychology, all different kinds of psychology, positive psychology, relational psychology, Gestalt psychology, social work. What is going on in our society, in our culture, in our mothering culture that is causing so many mothers to be suffering so bad? And so it became my life's passion. I was going to solve this problem that has no name. I was going to find a new and original solution to postpartum depression and anxiety that wasn't, and even just start talking about it in general, that mothers cannot handle this environment. And that too many of us are suffering. About 70% of mothers suffer in the first year of motherhood, 50% of mothers suffer after that, from extreme emotional distress. So I was like, okay, what is going on? And so I dedicated my life to that. 3.5 years ago, I got certified as a coach. I was coaching all these mothers for free and I was loving it. And I was like, but I can't really help them. My research, I'm not able to put my research from my heads into theirs. I feel that they're feeling so much guilt, shame, and fear, and I can't help them. I can't transmit this knowledge yet. So we moved here to Budapest. Beautiful, beautiful Budapest. Sorry. Okay. And our house in Canada cost more than the houses here. So I said, I'm going to use part of the down payment of my house and I'm going to do some more research. I'm going to write modules for mothers. I'm going to solidify this knowledge so that I can actually help mothers with all the different kinds of guilt and fear and shame and overwhelm and powerlessness and disappointment and, guilt about the past, birth trauma, everything that mothers were suffering from, regret, everything that anyway, I could go on and on. But I was going to find this. I was going to be able to solidify my knowledge, write it down, write modules for mothers, and also help myself so I can communicate what I had learned with my clients. Everyone said I was crazy. I was spending like 8 to 10 hours a day writing, right? And researching. And people said, you're crazy. Like, you've got to coach. get clients. And I said, but I'm not ready to get clients because I have to help them at the deep level. I have to help them with guilt, fear, and shame. I can't be helping them on surface level. I was doing that for a year and it was great, but I wasn't really helping them. I wasn't really solving their problems. I wasn't really doing what I had set out to do. So I took this year off, with everybody saying, Marnie, better get on it, wasn't listening to them. I had this mission, I was gonna do it. And then I said, okay, enough, I've written enough, I've got it, I've figured it out. I know what is causing postpartum depression, anxiety, and all the other symptoms of motherhood. So I said, okay, now it's time to do online marketing. I speak English, I'm a native speaker, so I can coach mothers all over the world, and there's so many mothers who need my help, it's gonna be a breeze, so I thought, right? So I tried everything. I was reading up I made a website that was not communicating to mothers the way I hoped. I did email marketing, writing email a day. I did Facebook advertising. I spent so much money on an online scheduler, the email program, the website hosting, all landing pages for my Facebook ads. I was just going all out and nothing worked. And a few times I'd have people book a call and then they'd cancel. It was so disheartening. And I was coaching free clients again, so that was going well. But all the failure after failure after failure. And that's when I fell into a deep depression. Here I was spending 5 years of my life building a program that was going to be more effective than anything else that existed for young mothers, and nobody was interested. I couldn't convince anybody to even give it a try, to even talk with me on the phone, right? And so that's when I fell into a much worse depression, actually, than I had ever had in motherhood. I'd had a lot of anxiety, anger, rage, shame, fear, guilt, all the emotions of motherhood. But my depression hadn't actually been that bad. It was mainly manifesting itself as rage and anxiety. And now I finally knew what depression really felt like. I couldn't see any more solutions. I had already tried everything. I had found, there's all these people trying to tell me what to do. You do this, you do that. The email marketing, the website, I was trying to learn marketing and I was trying to do it well, and nobody was interested, basically. And the anxiety that me having promised this to my husband, to my parents, everybody was counting on me, right? And I had nothing to show for it, except for yet more free clients that I was doing really, really well with. They were truly becoming happy in 8 weeks, but I couldn't sell it to anyone to save my soul, right? So anyway, what I want to say is that this experience of falling into entrepreneurial depression, online marketing depression, but mainly entrepreneurial depression, solidified my belief that all my research had been pointing to, that depression and anxiety and all other secondary symptoms of motherhood, like panic attacks, intrusive thoughts, and addictions, these secondary symptoms simply mean, and anger and rage. These secondary symptoms simply mean that the individual cannot handle the environment in which they place themselves. Anybody who was placed in this environment that I was placed in, with entrepreneurial depression, having invested 5 years into my life, all this free coaching, a coaching certification, and then a year of free coaching, a year of writing my modules, and then yet again, and then all that money into online marketing, and realizing that this was not going to work. This was not working no matter what I did. Anybody in that situation would feel anxiety or depression. right? At least at one point. And the problem with falling in depression is you lose all energy. You no longer see any solutions out there. Like, there's nothing, I've tried everything. There's nothing's going to help me now. There's nothing more I can do, right? That feeling of that there is no solution out there. And also that lack of energy. Like, even if I did find a solution, I have no more energy to implement it, right? That's what depression is we're put in an environment and we don't see a way out, we don't see a solution, and we don't feel like we have any more energy to implement a solution even if we found one. And so how did I get out of this depression? Well, I got more and more free clients. So seeing my success with free clients did cheer me up. And then I actually hired a coach. And it was really interesting with my coach. I would go up and I would see hope again. Like, this is truly going to work. And then I would go down, back into depression. And then I'd see hope and then down. And then finally I started being able to stay up, right? And then, what do you know? In are coming the paying clients, right? So the thing is, what I want to say is early motherhood is a really, really, really difficult environment, and that the majority of mothers can't handle it. It's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you, just like there was nothing wrong with me. When I had entrepreneurial depression, there's nothing wrong with you. And there was nothing wrong with me in early motherhood either. I simply couldn't handle the environment in which I found myself. And I believe the same is true for you. You may be feeling that you don't have the energy to implement a solution, even if you found one. And let me tell you that from experience, from both my own journey as well as my clients, is that yes, you do have the energy, because the solution involves identifying the root causes of your depression. And I have solutions for freeing you from all these painful emotions that are at the root of your depression, and for finding solutions in your life so that you can free yourself from depression and don't go back, right? And so when you realize that this is the solution, you will have hope again, you will have energy again, and you will be able to beat your depression. Thank you for listening, and just show you a bit more of Budapest. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.